Are you wanting to read aloud to your family but struggling finding a way to get it into your schedule and it's turning into, just another thing? In this video, we're going to talk about 5 ways that we can make reading aloud to our family easier, getting started, keeping it a routine and all that stuff. And be sure to stay to the 6th and final bonus mom tip, how to get your kids to read aloud without fighting or distracting one another. So be sure to stick around for that. If you are new to homeschooling and needing that homeschool support, go ahead and subscribe to this channel because every Tuesday and Thursday you're going to get some information like this that's going to make homeschooling a little bit easier. I just recently read the Read-Aloud Family. It's always backwards. The Read-Aloud Family by Sarah Mackenzie. It went on sale on Amazon and it's a book that I heard about for a very long time. And so I finally got it and I actually really enjoyed it. Her writing is superb. She explains things in ways that make it really easy to understand. She convinces you that reading aloud is literally a human superpower. And I definitely recommend this book. Many of my tips come from this book. Be sure to pick this up if you have the time. Our first tip is to stack reading aloud to a habit you already have in place. So really easy ones. Every day your kids go to bed, right? So every day before they go to bed, you can read aloud to them. Or every day they brush their teeth, and then after that, you can read aloud the book to them. Other convenient times of the day is every day your kids eat lunch. Maybe that you could eat really fast. You know how you used to when your kids were toddlers and you had to feed them and you're like, just trying to get food in you first. Do that. And then while they're eating, read aloud the book for 5 or 10 minutes. Another way you can do it is after dinner. Once you finish dinner, you can have the read aloud book somewhere nearby. Like for instance, we are actually at my very filthy dinner table. We have an audience too. Just have your book somewhere nearby. This is the book that we're currently reading, and I just have it nearby so that it's convenient. I can just pick it up as I go. This was one of Sarah Mackenzie's tips, and I really like it. However, we have downstairs, upstairs, and I don't like having to drag it all up, considering I'm big, fat, pregnant, and I don't really like running up and downstairs trying to find the book when it's bedtime. But we are trying to incorporate this a little bit more often than just bedtime. The second tip I have for you is read a variety of things. Yes, you do want to read the novels to many different ages, but if you've never read aloud to your kids and you're worried about their patience level, you don't have to start with novels. You can read picture books, you can read smaller novels, you can read all these things that just gets them in the habit of enjoying being read to and spending time with you, because that's what reading aloud is. It's, number 1, spending time with you, something that they love. Number 2, giving yourself common language. You guys can talk about the books together. Don't just think you have to read aloud novels alone. We are reading this novel, and we also, after Morning Basket, here's a link to my Morning Basket 2020, we read a picture book. And so every day we sit down, and this is something that I do with my daughter because I have an 11-year-old, a 10-year-old, and an almost 3-year-old with another baby on the way. So my daughter really isn't involved in this book. Sorry, I read it after she goes to bed. And so I do read aloud these picture books, and even though the picture books can be longer, I love picture books. So some are really short, take 3 minutes, and some are longer, take 15 minutes. And the illustrations are beautiful, all these things that keep everybody engaged. So she will also sit down and read aloud this picture book, no matter what length it is, right after Morning Basket. So that's another thing. If you already have something in your homeschool like Morning Basket, stack a read aloud on top of it. Tip number 3, don't be afraid to put books away until they're older. I wanted to be very overzealous, and with my 11 and 10-year-old, we started reading Animal Farm, and it actually worked out pretty okay. But then I looked it up and I was like, oh, Animal Farms for like sophomores in high school. And they did well reading aloud to it. We were able to have good discussions. However, it is not a really great read aloud book. It was a real big struggle for me. I didn't enjoy reading it aloud, not because the story was bad at all. It can be gruesome and all that stuff, but it was just harder language to read aloud. And I found out I was struggling to keep it a part of our schedule because I wasn't looking forward to it. And so I was like, okay, guys, what do y'all think if we just put away Animal Farm until y'all are older and then we can read it as an audiobook? And they were like, yeah, that's okay. And that is something you have the freedom to do. If you are not into the book, if your kids are not into the book, you have the freedom to table it until later, or just to say, you know what, we appreciate that author's work, but it isn't for us. And that's okay. There are so many other books out there in the world that your kids and you are going to love. For instance, Nowadays, when I read this, we don't have the struggle of like, Mom, I don't want you to read to me. I'd rather read my other book. Or I'm like, I'd rather just go to bed than read anymore. This is the kind of book that they're asking, another chapter, another chapter, another chapter. And my endurance is up because we are excited to read that I can read another chapter. If you are just starting reading aloud, do not worry if you only read for 10 minutes a day. 10 minutes a day is perfect. 10 minutes a day is golden. That is all you have to do for the rest of your life, and you'll have read books and books and books and books and books to your kids. But when you get to higher endurance, because it is a little bit endurance on your part, you do have to drink water, put the dry mouth and everything, but we're able to read for 30 minutes to an hour sometimes. So don't be afraid to put books away if they're just not working for your family. The fourth tip for reading aloud to your kids is incorporate audiobooks. There is nothing wrong with audiobooks. I love audiobooks for the car. We have a lot of classes that, our commute is 20, 30 minutes each way. And read-alouds and audiobooks are a great way to pass that time. Right now we are reading Call of the Wild. While listening to this book, I can totally tell I would not have enjoyed reading this book. Just like Animal Farm, some books are better suited for reading aloud because the language is easier. And Call of the Wild and Animal Farm are great, beautiful books. It's just, it might be a little bit hard on the part of the reader. So I'm gonna have someone paid do that, and we listen to it and enjoy it together, and we still get the benefits of being read aloud to. We still get to talk about the stories. We still get to have this common ground. It just gives us common language. It just gives us something in common with our kids, which is something that a lot of us struggle with considering how different generations can be. My fifth tip for easing into reading aloud to your kids, if you have a kid that really is not super patient, is try choose your own adventure books. I went ahead and made a video here. I use choose your own adventure books for history, but that is a great way that keeps the kid engaged while you're building up their temperance or their patience for being read aloud to. So it's active, every couple pages you get to make a new choice. And there's so many other, like, if you don't like that choice or you end up dying or whatever, it ends, you can go back to where you were with a bunch of bookmarks. That's a hint, a bunch of bookmarks. I don't know how you would do it with audiobooks, or not audiobooks. I don't know how you would do it with ebooks, but you can bookmark it and then kind of flip back and forth so that you guys can keep the adventure going. And the bonus mom tip, how to keep your kids engaged without going crazy, is have activities that only come out during read aloud. Now, at night when they're in bed, they're already kind of sleepy. So you don't really have to do this as much because they're probably already in a state that they're listening to you very well. But if you're trying to read aloud some other time during the day, like when we read our picture books, it is okay for your kids to be playing. It is okay for to get out the Play-Doh at that time. You can distract them with things that are quiet, such as snacks, reading aloud during snack time, where they're just sitting there enjoying their snack, or you get out the Play-Doh or manipulatives or like knitting or any crafts that they're interested in. Get those out during read aloud times, and that will help them keep engaged without poking and prodding one another or fighting. But realize, just like anything in life, nothing is going to be perfect. You'll feel like a failure as a mom or a parent if your kids are talking, and you can just put your bookmark in and try again later. But realize that not everything is perfect, but you can optimize your time by using these manipulatives and these activities that keep them engaged while they're listening. So I hope that these help you. Fist bump, we got this. I look forward to seeing y'all again in the next video. Bye.